that are here, how many of you are able to vote in this city election? See? But it's vastly, this is the thing that we're dealing with. The people that are here aren't people that can even vote. And this is what the advantage of this special election is going to pull off. All the people that are here are going to be shoppers and people that are interested in this, but they won't be able to vote. And they're not going to be happy shoppers. And when people basically start hating to pay taxes for something they didn't want and they didn't vote for, they're going to start taking it out on other things. They'll hate the government in general. It'll just pass it on down. And you start teaching the kids not to have grassy vote. You know, it's not good business. And that's what I'm appealing for you to pull, is to put this thing on an election when it's not a special election. And I know you don't want to do that. And, you know, that's what I'm saying. I think you'll have a better crack at a happier community and a happier county in general if you put it on a special election. It's during regular times for other people to be able to vote. Now, if I happen to, I was thinking about how I'm going to get y'all's attention when I got up here. And I didn't know if you knew it was snowing outside. And that would just, everybody would just, you'd clean the place out. Because it's hard to drive in this country when it snows, by the way, everybody knows. And you head to the house. I've said my piece. I hope the election goes as well as you don't want it to go, just from general rules, but I do want to have a place for the kids to play and things to go. And there's got to be a way for us to do it without putting the taxes on the people. Jones Center was built through a big donation. We're going to be celebrating, I think, its 25th anniversary shortly. I talked to some of the people over there. It costs them $2 million a year to maintain that thing. And nobody has put a tax on the maintenance or the cost of utilities or anything else. They raise that with the cost of what they charge at the Jones and also donations. For us to look at, trying to put the tax on, they see that thing up there all their lives until the day they get up there. It becomes a challenge. And I took my skin diving course down here at this pool. It cost about $700–800. By the time I got through, I probably had $1,000 tied up in it because I got tired. I happened to stand outside the place where you filled your tanks up down in Pensacola, Florida, because you have to have a license that shows that you went through the swimming course to be able to get your tanks filled. And so I felt like a kid outside of a liquor store wanting somebody to go and buy beer for me every time. And so that's why I paid the money and went to the course down here. Now I got my tanks filled when I want to. But the pool down here is a good thing, but I don't find the hours that congenial. I hear all this, we're open from this time to that time, but you know, I don't know. That's what I hear from people. We don't use what we've got. Appreciate you taking time to listen to me. Good luck for all the people that are here. I'm going to go home. You know, you can have your election, and if you, I wish there was a way that this could come out good. I asked Jerry the other day, what's your plan B? You told me you didn't have one. I can't believe it, because what we're going to go through to put this thing together is what we're going through right now. If it doesn't pass, there's still going to be one. I know there's a way out there to put this thing together without having to hit this thing with the taxes for people that don't want to pay it. Shame on you.
Mr. Wade Phillips, where are you, Mr. Wade? Chief Operating Officer for the City of Harrison. Wade, come on up here.
Okay. Typically, when I'm talking about this project, as proposed tax, I'm usually talking about trails. So I'm gonna hit on that a little bit. And Russ brought up, why would we do trails here when we've got the Buffalo River to the south, or many other opportunities to get out and hike. We're not necessarily talking about hiking trails, though. We're talking about a multi-purpose urban trail that does have design in it for accessibility. My 80-year-old dad was not going down the Buffalo River to walk. It's just not going to happen. He's not been where he could do that for a long time. Now he could get out on a nice urban trail through town, get outside. He can walk on that. So that's the kind of trail we're talking about here. I'm not going to, usually I get into the benefits of trails. I think many of you have probably heard a lot of this, so I'm not going into too much of the details of that. I do want to address a few of the things that keep coming up when people are talking about the trails. Is one, the cost. We're looking at about 3 miles of trail that would go from downtown, connect to the existing trails that we have now, down around Lake Harrison, that would go through town and connect to the proposed community center, as well as the existing baseball fields. Give us a chance to connect to the Lynx apartments, go close to FedEx, do some commercial areas. So it's a good connectivity through the main part of town. It'll set up a backbone where we can actually start branching out, hitting schools, hitting things like that. But 3 miles, the estimated cost on that right now is around $3 million. That's a lot of money. $1 million a mile is a pretty typical cost when you're looking at an urban, multi-use, accessible trail. Before I moved back home, I lived up in northwest Arkansas. I worked for a private engineering firm. We did work all over the state, all over the region. Even got to do a little bit of work in Hawaii. I didn't actually get to go. I just had to draw on the stuff and send it to the office out there. But was fortunate enough to be involved in a lot of the trail work that was going on in northwest Arkansas. Those cities have been investing in their trails for 20, 30 plus years. When you're looking at, if you're looking at Fayetteville, they've been investing in trails since the 90s and before. I mean, they had a strong grassroots movement. They got it going, got their city involved, and got their city invested. One of the projects that I was able to be somewhat involved with during the early stages was the Razorback Greenway. They called on a lot of the different firms in the area to help with the early planning. Walton Foundation was heavily involved in that. And the reason I bring that up is that trail was completed about 5 years ago. It had a cost of over $1 million a mile. It was actually, I want to get my numbers right, because we all want to get our numbers right. The Razorback Greenway was $38 million for 37.6 miles. That's $1.01 million per mile, completed in 2015. Now, if you want to go ahead and estimate that based off of what we've been seeing on construction increases since 2015, we're looking at about $1.16 million. So that kind of gives you a basis of something to compare what we're looking at right now in our community versus what's been built elsewhere. And I use the Greenway because a lot of the people that are really promoting trails, they hop in their car and they drive over there and they use the Greenway and the trails over there. I've got lots of friends that do that on a regular basis. I've been over there using myself. And I do think the importance of the trail system in town is kind of hard to overstate for me, because I do know that people my age, people younger, that workforce that we're trying to recruit, that's the kind of stuff they're looking for. We may not like the idea of having to spend tax money on it, but I hate to tell you, the cities that we're competing with to get those people living here, to get those jobs here, to get that workforce here, those cities are spending money. And we're going to lose if we don't take a look and figure out how we can do it ourselves. And I'm not going to go on much longer about trails. I will be happy to answer any questions about trails or about maybe the overall construction process or anything like that, because that'll be one of my primary roles, moving forward, would be to manage the designers and the contractors and all that. So I appreciate your time and be happy to answer any questions. Thank you.
Wade, that having lived at one time in Bentonville, that Razorback Greenway runs what, from Bella Vista to Fayetteville? Is that
Yes. Yeah, it
37 miles?
It connects the big four cities and all the cities in between. And then each one of those communities have, you know, invested on the trailheads and branching out from that. Even Springdale, which was one of the last ones to jump on board, they really started investing heavily.
On this particular plan here, the proposal that the city has, will there be any stops along the way, like rest stops or
Yes.
restroom stops, pit stops, whatever?
Yeah, I mean, we do want to put this on. I think so. Yeah, I mean, we do want to put what I call kind of amenities along that trail. There will be trailheads, places where people can park and hop on. Founders Park, for those of you that don't know, is a downtown area near one of the Jaeger auto places. Will be a good place to put in a trailhead. You know, there'll be other opportunities. But yeah, picnic areas, you know, drinking fountains, lighting. Yeah, the whole trail will be good. That's good. I mean, that's a big cost, and any urban trail project is lighting.
Thank you, Wade.
Oh,
Any other questions or comments
one
on
of
it?
the other things that they want me to say is we are planning on putting the little security call stations along the way. That way, if there is an issue, somebody doesn't have to worry about getting their cell phone out, or if they don't have their cell phone, then it's one of those hit the buttons. If you've seen those in other places.
Good. Any other suggestions, comments? Yes, sir. Doug?
I know this, being an urban, this is new to me, right? Walking, bicycles,
Yes.
animals,
Yes.
what else are we including?
Basically, pedestrian, non-motorized travel.
No electric scooters, no skateboards?
You know, skateboards they're not motorized. I mean, if you go to any major trail, you're gonna have some people riding along on their skateboard. You're gonna
Doug,
see
you can-
bicycles, you're gonna see inline skates, roller skates.
Who's policing this?
Doug, you could break your skateboard just about any time you want.
Skateboard got two wheels, 1,600.
We actually have bicycle certified officers that will be
Okay,
working.
that's, so we will have bicycle, this
Yes,
is.
we have. Yeah, they have actually, several years ago, started getting them bicycle certified. They go down for events. I don't know if you've seen them. I know Officer Tolan, who's one of our SROs during the year, is bicycle certified. So yeah, we'll have to have that.
Okay, thank you.
Good question. Any other questions? Yes, sir.
One thing brought up, of course, a few moments ago, was in relationship to the Walton Foundation. And my question, I guess, in that respect is, number one, why or has there been any reaching out to the Walton Foundation to help finance the park or all of this? We are the second Walmart place in the U.S. I think we have a history that we ought to be able to pull from. And we have a number of influential people here that should be able to speak to that issue and bring those funds in. So I think that should be a factor.
I'll go ahead and address that if you're done. I don't want to.
I'm not done. Go ahead.
The Walton Foundation's been reached out to by many people inside and outside the city for many things in this community over many years. Yeah, we're store number 2. You would think they would be willing to invest a ton of money here. So far they haven't. We don't have a Harvey or Ernest Jones to do a Jones Center here. You know, as back to the Walton Foundation, if you're not in Benton County or Washington County, it's a hard sell to get them involved. And it's also a very hard sell to get them involved unless you're willing to start putting a lot of money in it yourself. Razorback Greenway, they helped with that. They helped with 50% of it. No, not quite. They helped with 15 million. They also helped those cities go get federal money. $15 million in federal money. And then those cities had to come up with another $8 million. The thing is all those groups were already working forward to do this anyways. So until you actually show that your community is willing to invest in itself, it's hard to start getting these big foundations to invest a bunch of money into your community. They don't look for people that say, hey, just come do it for us. They look for people that say, hey, we're already doing it. We want to do more. Come help us. And I do think if we actually start making real investment in trails and in quality of life improvements, things like those parks and tourism grants that we do get from time to time in little pieces. One is helping us build the new all-inclusive playground down at Mini Harris Park. That was a parks and tourism grant that we're actually putting a lot of money locally and effort locally into, and we use that to leverage the bid. The more we invest, the more opportunity we've got to go out and get that outside funding to come in and help. Walton Foundation's going to be hard though. I mean, we're outside of their main area. I think at some point we will get them to help some, but I don't think we can expect the same level that we're seeing them do in places like Fayetteville and Bentonville and Solomon, because it's in that two-county area that they consider home.
Sure. I expect that the people in this community will be able and will be willing to reach out. We have a number of influential and wealthy people in Harrison that have shown by the generosity that they've done in terms of, the schools and so on, that they would be able to, match and to help in that respect. But I understand what you're saying. The second part is I have heard from more than a couple of people about the cost of this 3 miles. And it really astounds a lot of people that it could cost that much. So my question is there a modification or is there some way that this could be done that would not cost that much? Because that's, of course, adding to the total cost there, which is a big factor.
You cannot do it. That would be the main way to get rid of it. And I don't mean that to be snide or rude. I see people use costs that were won from 20, 30 years ago. I see people use costs for what it would take to do a mountain bike trail. What we're talking about is a 10-foot wide minimum concrete path that is graded to where people with mobility issues can actually use it. Concrete's expensive. I mean, I've got numbers, I can go through them. Just the concrete for this alone, based on, and I did these numbers using Arkansas DOT costs that they publish annually. You're looking at almost $1 million just in the concrete. That doesn't get us to easement acquisition, which we'd be looking up to 8 acres. And it's hard to estimate easement costs. Some people that are along this proposed trail are very avidly for this, and we'll probably get them to donate. Some people we're probably going to have to negotiate costs. You're looking at $150,000 to $350,000 just in easement and right-of-way acquisition because one, we're going through our commercial area because we do want to tie our downtown park through commercial, start getting this set up to residential out to the new community center. We are going to have some at-grade crossings where we can't avoid those. Pedestrian actuated lighted crossings to keep them safe. You're looking at about $12,000 each. For those 9 of those, that's $108,000. Subgrade preparation, 17,600 square yard at $3 a square yard. That's about $53,000. Clearing and grubbing, 158 stations, which is 100 foot. One station is 100 foot the way we do that. $700 per station at $110,000. Class 7 base to go under the concrete, you're looking at $90,000. Earthwork estimated about $500,000. Drainage at $250,000. So, just at what I've listed off right there, I'm at $2.4 million. Still got to do lighting. I've still got to restore the disturbed areas, seeding and sodding. Still got to do scour protection in those places where we do have to drop in the floodway, because we will when there's a bridge. If we can go under a bridge with this trail and not have people crossing it at a road, that's way safer. Main Street would be the main example I could point out on that one. The amenities we talked about earlier, undercut areas where there's more soil, and I can go on and on. Yeah, it's a lot of money for what people think of as a trail, especially if we're using what we go hike on the Buffalo River. Yeah, those are cheap trails to make, but those also don't provide all the access and amenities that we're talking about in a trail in town. Does that help?
Yes, it does. So you are saying that this cost includes the acquisition of the property itself in those areas that are on.
Just the easement on the trail. Yes. Yes, sir.
Any other questions for Wade Phillips? Thanks, Wade. I'd like to introduce our next speaker on the panel, the Honorable former Mayor Jeff Crockett, the owner of this building. Jeff, again, thank you for purchasing this building and all the work that you all are doing and have done to make this really a centerpiece here in this community.
Thank you. I have a couple of comments and issues that I want to voice here tonight. I think everybody in this room probably has their mind made up already, but maybe it'll give them some information to go to their friends and neighbors. The most important thing at this point is that everybody possible should go vote. It's a special election. It's usually low turnout. Whoever drives their group to turn out is how the election will turn out. But everybody should make an effort to go vote. It's a community issue. Whether you want it or you don't want it, whether you want the tax or you don't want the tax, get out there and vote. Cost is one of my main issues here. The YMCA, 8 years ago, approximately, we brought the YMCA into town, and they set up a fundraising program here. We had about 20 people on it. I was influential in getting them here in the first place, and getting them interested in Harrison, and they said, if you can prove your community wants us, we will come. They needed a place, which we gave them. They needed $400,000 raised to get their program started. The YMCA's program starts in schools, and in daycare, and adult fitness, in small locations. Sometimes a storefront, sometimes they were going to do the old Dollar General building at the mall at the time. They start. And usually about 10 years later, that's their plan. They build a recreation facility. I don't know if any of you have been to the one in Bolivar or in Monette, Missouri, but they both have fantastic facilities. They're 30 to 40,000 square feet. Last night I sat down and I went through and researched, any of you can do it, the YMCA facilities that were built in the last 5 years. There's been over a dozen of them built in all areas of the country. They are from 30,000 to 50,000 square feet. Multiple pools, indoor walking tracks. These facilities cost the YMCA, not the taxpayers, the YMCA, $9 to $12 million. They're not paid for by taxpayer funds. They don't have $1.25 million a year worth of taxpayer funds coming in to support them. They are self-supporting. They don't cost the taxpayers a dime. We could have had that here probably in another 2 years. We might be able to get them back. If those of you that are for this project, if it doesn't happen to pass, maybe we can get you to get on board. If we could raise enough funds to get the Y interested, maybe if this does not pass, we can get a facility like that, hopefully. A couple of other things that I have is the city sales tax revenue right now is $5.84 million per year. The proposal for the $39 million rec center is 6.67 times the current sales tax revenue. Let's equate this to a family budget. Average Harrison household family income is $37,255 a year. Would you propose to go out and purchase a $250,000 home on that kind of an income? Or better yet, a $250,000 swimming pool? Or a $250,000 boat? Even giving the additional $3.5 million that may or may not come with the sales tax, that only brings the income of the city to $9.344 million. That brings the Recplex to 4.17 times the city revenue. That would bring the average Harrison household to getting a 60% raise to $59,600 a year. Even at the $59,600 a year, would you then go out and buy a $250,000 boat or a $250,000 pool? Another point that was brought up, the city of Batesville said one of the reasons their first tax issue didn't pass was they had just passed a 1-cent wastewater tax. If we pass this tax, it brings our sales tax rate in the city up to where we can only pass another 1/2 cent tax. We have an antiquated sewer plant. We have a lot of old AC water lines, which stands for asbestos concrete. They're in the ground. They're concrete lines that were put in years ago because they were cheaper than PVC. Over the years, they age, the ground moves, they crack, they break. We had a 12-inch line break several years back right there at McKesson that flooded McKesson and drained all the water tanks. Those lines are expensive to replace. If we would have a catastrophe and we can only pass a 1/2 cent sales tax, would it pay for what we need? Would it pay for a $20 million sewer plant? That's a concern of mine. The location is a concern of mine. I think it should have been looked at to have been placed down at the junior high school. Yes, some of that's in a floodplain, some of it's not. Some of it could have been built with underground parking. I discussed that with Rick this afternoon. The parking could be in the floodplain, the building elevated above. It would bring traffic to downtown. Another issue down there is the roads are already there. We're going to put this on Gibson Road, a 2-lane road, no curbs, no sidewalks, narrow. Where's that traffic going to come from? How are they going to get out there? 500 people a day, they're talking minimum using this thing. They're going to come up Hester Drive, cut over to Gibson, come through Home Depot's parking lot, through FedEx, and come up Gibson Road. Have we planned for what it's going to cost to increase the size of that road? We built a high school on Gatlin Drive before we planned for the traffic. What have we got now? It's still not fixed, many, many years later. We haven't planned for the cost of that road. Where is that tax coming from? These are all issues that I think we need to face. In looking through the budget as a businessman, I've got a budget here in front of me, and 2023, 2024, 2025 budget. Total net revenues after all expenses are paid. $103,000 in 2023, $76,000 in 2024, $48,000 in 2025. Would I, as a businessman, invest $39 million in a business that would generate that kind of revenue? I don't think so. And then that bottom line revenue is only after you're getting given to you $1.25 million a year. From a business standpoint, it's not wise. If the taxpayers want to make that decision and they want to fund it, that's up to them. Wages on this. The last time we had a meeting, I looked at the wages here and I looked at the top couple lines for salaries. And I thought, well, $500,000 in wages isn't bad, but if you go down this current expenditure and look at all the wages and the overtime and the retirement and the health insurance and payroll taxes, summer rec counselors, lifeguards, their payroll taxes, CC salaries, whatever CC is, part-time wages, concession workers, overtime, retirement, health insurance, payroll taxes. It's $1.44 million a year in wages alone. These are just some of my concerns with this project. I think it could have been better thought out. I think the location is a poor location. The corner at Gibson Road and Airport Road is terrible. I just think it could have been thought through better. We could have got the property probably for free from the school district to do it downtown. And I don't think that was necessarily an impossible thing to do.
questions, comments, suggestions for?
Dr. Lewis, may I have a few moments?
Yes, sir. Wade?
First off, junior high property, you're not suggesting use the facilities that are
No, absolutely not.
there. We agree on that.
Wade asked that question a little bit more, a little bit louder.
I was asking to clarify, he's not suggesting that the facilities that are already there are used. We agree on that 100%. Those should not be used for this purpose. There's a reason the school district is not using them now. That site, 75% of that site is located within the FEMA floodplain, with approximately 15% of it located within a floodway. Floodplains you can work around, for the most part, by building up. Now, if we're concerned about cost, building parking garages underneath big buildings and pools and things like that is just kind of counterproductive to think that that would work. Just to give you kind of some of my numbers here. At best, using that site there and working within the floodplain and floodway as is, we would have about 7 to 8 acres available from the junior high property that would actually be available. That's not big enough for this facility. That's one of the many reasons the junior high property is not. And believe me, the Mayor Jackson, I don't know how many times asked me, let's put it at the junior high. I want to put it at the junior high, I want to put it down there. We can't fit it down there with what's usable. Second, Gibson Road. Gibson Road is actually part of the city's master street plan to be widened to a 3-lane road. I did not foresee this development, nor some of the other development that's going to take place out in that area when we develop the current infrastructure. So yeah, if this passes, I'm going to have to go to city council and move some stuff around in our master street plan. Unfortunately, fortunately, master street plans are flexible, where you can do that, because you can't always predict what's going to happen in the next 20 years when you lay out the plan. So there is funding in place to improve Gibson Drive. That's just a matter of it going to council and making that request. I'm trying to think if there's anything else that I can address that was of concern. Yeah, Goblin Drive. I sat in a meeting with the school superintendent back then when they were first looking at this project, and I said, you guys are going to improve Goblin Drive. Mayor Crockett remembers me telling about this. And I was told right then and there that I was going to kill the entire project, and I probably saw it. I took that fight to the planning commission as best I could. Unfortunately, they were not able to help me. So yeah, the school district, not the city, the school district built those schools out there. And we didn't have time to get Goblin Drive done. When I was doing the second phase of Industrial Park Road is when I had, we developed conceptual design plans for Goblin Drive so that we could start chasing money for it, because we did not have the money in place. So as the next infrastructure program came around, 1, we put Goblin Drive in, we dedicated money to it. 2, we started chasing money. And just, I don't know if any of you read it in the newspaper, but we got $1.66 million from the EDA, Economic Development Administration, to actually help with that improvement. So not only were we able to put the money in, and we were able to leverage that in order to get federal money back in. So that's under design. Unfortunately, with that $1.66 million of EDA money comes their red tape, and it's going to slow us down a little bit, but we actually have that under design. As far as Goblin Drive goes, just for those of you that want an update on it. Oh yeah, wastewater plants. Yeah, we just finished a rehab of our 2 primary clarifiers at the wastewater plant. About a little under $500,000. We're halfway through. We finished one, we're hoping to do another. A little under $500,000 investment there that's being paid for out of the water and sewer revenues, which is where those improvements should come from. There's always the possibility of some new regulation hitting us at the wastewater plant. I spent 4 years fighting the EPA on mineral rights on Crooked Creek. Proud to say, we kind of kicked their butt. We avoided about we probably have about $20 million invested in capital improvements and increased operating costs if we did not win that battle. And we spent about $400,000 of water and sewer revenue on legal and environmental fees in order to win that battle. Those are the I'm of a strong opinion that the majority of the investment in our water and sewer needs to be done through the water and sewer fees that are collected, because that's a separate enterprise fund that needs to be self-sufficient. What else have I forgotten?
I think you got
Are there any other areas of mine that you had touched on?
No, I agree. Water and sewer is an issue, in this, and you know the facilities as well as I do. We were involved in the same fight when they were with the mineral limit. It could come up again, but you never know what might happen. And I agree, water and sewer revenues, and I always have, should pay for all of that. But in that event, and if we're on the same page there, we don't have the funds coming in with water and sewer, and you don't have a council that is willing to raise the rates to where they need to be to start putting those funds away for that rainy day.
Fortunately, in the last 8 years, the water and sewer reserves have gone from about, before you got here, they were less than 2 million. To where we at right now? Right about 4 million. So, yeah, I mean, those problems are always out there, and you've got to figure out how to make them work. It's always an issue dealing with DEQ.
Luke, did you want to make any comment to the?
I can wait.
Well,
till
excuse me, go ahead, Mr. Porter.
I heard something I've never heard in my life. It sounded pretty good to me. When Jeff was talking a moment ago about the YMCA, since this project we're looking at here, which I think is very excessive, and it's not an emergency, it's not an emergency situation at all. Would there be anything wrong with tabling this thing for now? Postponing it, so to speak? And Jeff and Jerry and Luke and whoever else need to be involved, contact YMCA and see if they would like to come here? Would there be anything wrong with doing that?
Can I ask, or
What?
maybe
Wait.
answer your question, and I might defer some of this to Mayor Rick here, but are we wanting it 10 years from now? Because I believe that's what Mayor Crockett said would happen. It would be probably 10 years from now. Plus, he also mentioned, I believe, and I don't remember the exact number, 38,000 square feet. Is that correct?
38 to 50.
38 to 50. Okay, so that would be smaller than Berryville's community center for the size
Well, who'd you do?
of Garrison, Arkansas. We're trying to plan for the future. I believe, and I don't know, I believe Mayor Rick would tell you the same thing, but I believe he probably feels that they could have even expanded their facility because they have that much usage in it.
Well, they tried that and the people refused it.
No, they passed it. That's
Oh, they
passed.
started out $41 million, Luke, and the people said no.
Right, but they
And that was
passed
for a
it.
bigger and much more elaborate facility.
They passed it now, and he actually said they expanded the community center.
Would there be, let me ask my question again. I don't care what they did in Batesville. It doesn't affect Harrison one bit. Whatever Batesville did is nothing for us. It doesn't affect our town any. My simple question was, would there be something wrong with postponing this non-emergency $47 million expenditure and see if YMCA would be interested in coming here? If the answer is yes, there's something wrong with it, what's wrong with it?
In my opinion, yes, waiting 10 years from now, kicking the can down the road is wrong. That's my opinion.
Well, it would be if we didn't have most of this stuff already, except for an indoor swimming pool.
Any other questions or comments for,
Bill, Wade,
yes?
Wade was talking about the Walmart Foundation. Who did you actually talk with at Walmart?
Mayor Cheryl has reached out to them. I don't talk to them. I don't know anybody at Walmart Foundation. I've had numerous people who,
You know, where I come from out here on Route 1, Harrison, a half a mile past the college, it's not what you know, it's who you know. Our good friend Scott Tennison, president of RBS Bank, has got an employee working for him by the name of Larry Phillips, the same name you have. Larry was a long time
manager of the local Walmart store. Larry's wife is connected to the Waltons. I've been told. She didn't tell me this, but I've heard that she is distant related to them. And what I do know